Hey guys, it's that time of year again, the beginning of the year, and it's time for me to once again go over the movies that I watched in the previous year, this time being 2011, that I enjoyed. Let's start February. I saw Cedar Rapids. I didn't see it when it came out in February. I saw it later on video. Pretty funny movie. It's not necessarily always a laugh out loud comedy, but it's definitely entertaining. Worth a rent or a watch when it comes indefinitely on Comedy Central. One thing I did like about this one, normally John C. Reilly, the kind of characters he portrays kind of annoy me. Didn't really happen this time. He was pretty tolerable, even though he was kind of playing a character similar to all the other characters that normally annoy me. March 4th, the day before my birthday actually, Rango. Again, another one that I didn't see in the theaters, but I really enjoyed Rango. I thought the animation was great. The story was okay. Johnny Depp's acting was pretty good. Usually is. At the very least, it's pretty good. I really was taken back by the amount of detail put into all the animated characters on Rango. I really have to applaud the studio on that one. March 18th, Paul. Half live action, half CGI. Basically, the guys from Shaun of the Dead and Seth Rogen, who voices the CGI alien title character, Paul. It was pretty funny. It was kind of, it was stoner humor, but it was not overly, stupid, average stoner humor. There were some great scenes that took place at the very beginning of the movie that took at San Diego Comic-Con, which was hilarious. Especially there's this one scene where they're just kind of sitting in the I guess it'd be the food court area, and there's all these women around dressed as Slave Leia from, Return of the Jedi, and they're just kind of oblivious to it, and part of that is just is hilarious to me. I don't know. I've never been to Comic-Con, so I don't know, if that's really indicative of the sheer volume of cosplayers, especially Slave Leias, but it was funny to me. March 25th. Sucker Punch. I didn't see this one in the theaters. I saw this one on Vudu, which is online streaming service. As far as I know, it's the only one to offer 1080, which they call HDX. Saw it in 1080, and it was pretty good. The quality of the video was pretty good. The visuals were pretty good. The story was kind of confusing, kind of like they had a good place to start, but then they kind of got lost in the visuals, and here, we can do this that looks cool, and the story kind of suffered for it, and some of it was just blatant TNA, which a lot of people it turned them off to that film. April 1st, Insidious. I avoided this one at first because I thought it was going to be kind of goofy looking by some of the early commercials, and I was wrong. Like, the first half of this movie creeped me out. Really creeped me out. The second half, it's creepy, but it's kind of campy creepy, which, I really still found that all completely entertaining. Definitely go check out Insidious. I'm not sure if it's a buy, but it's definitely a renter. April 1st, The King's Speech. I'm sure you've all heard about it by now, and you all have probably seen it. If you haven't, definitely go see it. Personally, it's not my taste. I would rent it, not buy it, watch it again on TV. I definitely would. Amazing performances by Colin Firth and Jeffrey Rush. Really, what can I say that hasn't already been said? Just at least watch it. April 15th, Scream 4 came out. The original cast and the original director are back. And it's fun. I mean, it's definitely a sequel, but it's one of those sequels that makes up for the previous sequels. You can pretty much skip from the original Scream to Scream 4, and it does its job. You don't have to watch 2 or 3. May 6th, Thor. This is the first superhero movie I saw this year. As information was coming out about it, and trailers and commercials and whatnot, I tried to stay away from some stuff, but I couldn't help but take notice, and especially when I was watching it, of the amazing set designs and the costume designs, and as the stuff in Asgard, which is the world of the Norse gods that are the primary story of the movie. I thought, set and character designs were beautiful there. The story is passable. There's definitely some cheesy parts, cheesy editing, especially like during the fight with the Destroyer, the big metal guy that Loki sends to attack Thor on Midgard or Earth. Especially there's this one scene where they do this like jumping close up onto Natalie Portman that, oh, it was so lame that it almost took me out of the movie. May 20th, Pirates of the Caribbean 4 on Stranger Tides. I'm normally not a big fan of 3D. I've got a TV this year that does the 3D, and I didn't buy it for the 3D, but I've always thought of 3D as gimmicky, and in this case, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't overly gimmicky. There were certain parts that did cater to the 3D, but they... yeah, I mean, they didn't tailor the story to the 3D stuff like some movies will do. The story was passable. I mean, it's always fun to see Johnny Depp come back as Jack Sparrow, and Blackbeard made a really good villain. There was some part at the beginning where Barbossa's kind of wearing, you know, makeup and the dress of the time that were fashionable for someone in high society, and it just kind of came off as awkward. Which it was supposed to, but it was a little too awkward to me. I don't know. There were some odd subplots and little threads like the romance between the missionary and the mermaid, which I think were actually based on like another story. So they were trying to tie something in, but it just kind of fell flat on that. But definitely a watcher. I bought it. I've got all the other three, so... and supposedly they're going to be doing a fifth one. We'll see. May 26th, saw Hangover Part 2. Basically, you take the first Hangover, move it from Vegas to Singapore, and you've add a lot more male genitalia, and you've got the exact same movie. It was funny, but yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't really watch it again. I might watch the first one again, but I'm probably not going to go to The Hangover Part 2. I'm definitely not going to buy it. On June 3rd, a movie came out that a friend of mine almost had to drag me to kicking and screaming, and that was X-Men First Class. I have been burned by all the other X-Men movies. That Wolverine movie was just insulting. I really didn't want to go see this one, but a friend kind of conned me into it, and I was less displeased than I thought I was going to be. It's still, to me, not the X-Men, but this one kind of ignores the other movies and kind of starts over. And I think that's the one thing it has going for it. It's definitely a good team superhero movie, but it's not my X-Men. Not the X-Men that I've been reading for 20 years. June 10th, Super 8. As far as I'm concerned, Super 8 was the movie of the year. That it was the best movie I have seen all year, all 2011. It captures that kind of sense of childlike wonder that Spielberg, who's the executive producer, had captured back in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and it adds kind of the mystery appeal that J.J. Abrams throws in, who J.J. Abrams this time serving as, you know, part writer, part director, mostly director. You know, this what he infuses into his products like Lost and Fringe and whatnot. It definitely had a great story. The kids were believable. I mean, I don't know what else to say. The creature, we'll call it. It definitely is J.J. Abrams style, but the way they build up to it, definitely Spielberg style. Buy this one. Definitely buy this one. June 17th, the third superhero movie that came out this year, Green Lantern. This was a good movie, but the casting of Ryan Reynolds in the role of Hal Jordan was just wrong. I think everybody outside of the studio knew that. And it works for the most part. It delves too deeply into the kind of the emotional spectrum concept that came from the books, and more than a mainstream audience would really be willing to accept right off the bat. And the main villain, Parallax, is changed a bit from the books, so he's a little more nebulous, a little harder to understand what he's supposed to be than in the books. They did do a bit of a setup at the end for a potential sequel, which I don't know if they're going to get to do, but the sequel could only be better. They really should do the sequel, which hopefully they can win some people back.